guys, James Ribshack. It is Basketball in Focus for a Thursday. The court report is underway. A lot of games going on, but some games are not going on. Some teams have had their tournaments postponed, and some got canceled. Some teams have already finished the season. We were trying to get Caldwell Academy in here last week, the Eagles, and Coach Stewart, but the way things worked out, we got snowed out last Thursday. You guys were ready to come, but the problem was Shane's was not open that day because I called Shane's, they were not open, so we had to postpone to this week. Before we could get you guys, your tournament kind of abruptly ended and closed out back earlier this week. First Assembly of Concord knocked you guys off, first round of the tournament, and tough way to close out the year, but can't take anything away. Great season for the Caldwell Academy girls basketball team, Coach Stewart.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, the girls played very well. They've worked hard all year long, and we were extremely excited. It was a very, we have a very young team, and we're excited to have that young team. Scored a lot of points, and they really worked hard.
And the thing about it, what's going to happen, we talked to Coach Hauser about it a little bit earlier, know him from coaching several years ago, and with your team, and just like any kind of team, as far as all that goes, what you got to look at, you just got to make sure next year your record's a little bit better. 14-9 this year, big improvement. Your girls are getting better and better, but you've got to get a little bit better record so you get a better seeding in the beginning. So maybe you're up from maybe a number 10 or 11 or 12, move up to about a 7 or 8, get a better slot for the first round of games. That way you're not playing such tough teams in the opening part of the tournament.
Absolutely, totally agree. That's been our goal the past 2 years. We've worked hard. We've won the conference. We still got to get a lot better, and the girls are working hard to do that. They're practicing day in and day out. Work hard from start to finish in practice. So again, we're a young team. We're excited about this team, and we're excited about where Caldwell's going with the varsity girls basketball program. So
I tell you, it's sometimes tough in the beginning, but as you get better, things seem to go better too. I remember coaching a few years ago and still getting those tournaments every year about this time of the year, and you'd be like going to an 8-team tournament, 8 teams there, you get the number 8 seed, you're going, man, it's going to be tough that first Thursday because you're playing a number 1 seed. You just ever get by those guys, things can get better for you. And your team has improved a lot. So how long have you been there now?
This is my 2nd year there at Caldwell. Last year we won the conference, and then this year we won the conference. So it was very exciting to consider us the 2-time conference champions, which is back-to-back conference champions. The girls have, like I said, they've worked very, very hard to get to this point. I think they've been very excited, and I think we've started Caldwell in the right direction with varsity girls basketball.
It looks like, Coach, as far as we call all our ADs coaches, because they used to be coaches at one time, now athletic directors, but Dan Bosarf, a good hire when you picked up Stewart. How did you end up over at Caldwell?
Actually, believe it or not, it's very close to the job. It's very close to the area where I live, and one day it just totally happened. Trey Hauser, who's an assistant coach of mine, Steve O'Byrne, and Coach Freddie Johnson, who I used to coach middle school for at Greensboro Day School, gave me a referral and a good recommendation, and Coach Bozarth called me in, and we had a couple of interviews, and they liked what I had to say, and we kind of went from there, and the rest was history. So
sounds like you've surrounded yourself by some very good coaches over the years. I mentioned Coach Freddie Johnson, and you mentioned a few others there as well. Coach Hauser and others helped get you lined up to get that job. But what were you doing before you got over to Caldwell? What's your coaching background? Because you're still a very young coach, I know that. Sure. But what was the coaching background that kind of got you to where you are today?
Well, I've been coaching for about 18 years. I coached 1 year over at High Point Central, believe it or not, as an assistant coach.
Okay, who was the head coach there?
It was Phil Tinsley. I was doing the JV boys at that point in time.
Okay.
Stan Kovaleski and Trey Hauser, who coaches with me now, was the varsity coaches. So then I coached for Freddie Johnson over and did the middle school boys for about 3.5 years.
Not bad.
Really enjoyed that, and I'd done a lot of AAU programs with the boys North Carolina Gators. I also did the Lady Gators, and I'm currently with the Phoenix Express East for a younger group. So a lot of coaching background, a lot of coaching experience, and as I got the Caldwell job, just feel very blessed to have a bunch of great girls and a bunch of great student athletes, and they definitely are truly student athletes.
I've heard a lot about Stewart to some degree over the past year or so. Had heard that maybe you were part of the Stewart family, where your mom, I think maybe one time, was with the Gators organization, going back over several years.
That is correct. Vicki Stewart is my mother, and she was with Vic Sapp with the boys North Carolina Gators, and she actually just recently stopped doing that about a year and a half ago. Okay. So that's kind of one reason, one way I got into it with Vic Sapp and the North Carolina Gators when I was doing the boys.
Did you get to play for Vic back when you were younger?
I did not, actually. I'm from Iowa, and we moved here when I was about 14, 15 years old. So
you just missed out
on that, but I've really enjoyed the coaching.
But you got to work with Vic, right?
Worked with Vic quite a bit, yes, sir.
That's pretty good background there as far as that goes. A lot of basketball roots were laid by Vic Sapp back when he was with us here, and he and Mike Crabtree. You know, Mike from over Greensboro Day, and then Mike and Vic back in the day really did a lot of work to build those basketball programs for the kids around here.
Yes, sir. They were great guys and knew a lot about the game of basketball. So I feel that I've been very fortunate and learned a lot from a lot of different folks.
So when you moved here back in your teens, what high school did you lock into?
I was at Western Guilford High School.
Really?
And believe it or not, I was a football player and a track runner.
Is that right?
So, and here I am coaching basketball and have been for quite some time.
It's kind of interesting, too, because I was a Western Guilford guy back in my real early days, back a long time ago. Still get by there some, though. Also a football guy. Did a little track, did a little wrestling there. But a lot of people from that Western Guilford background. Kind of interesting Gators connection. You probably knew Billy Britt, who was with the Gators for a while. He was a Western Guilford man even back in his day.
Know Billy Britt very well, and still very good friends, and just I speak with him pretty much on a weekly basis.
And his son Clay Britt was involved, I guess, with the Gators too when he was younger.
He was.
A lot of good connections over the years. Now, talk about kind of connect the dots, if you will, about this Eagles team at Caldwell Academy. How far your team has come the past couple of years, and how they might be looking for the future.
Well, you know, like I said, the past couple of years, about 3 years ago, they weren't too bad. But when I took over the Caldwell Eagles about 2 years ago, we knew it was going to be a tough task. But the girls were up for the task. They bought into the system. They bought into myself as the new head coach, and we kind of went from there. We finished, I think, 20-11 last year, and we were 12-0 in the conference, which was a heck of a start for us. I think it was a lot better than a lot of people anticipated us to have done in my first year there. This year, again, we were again conference champions. We were 8-1 this year, so we did take one blemish. However, it's been a very strong year.
Like you say, was it kind of an eye-opener for you how well you did so quickly? That's quick progress, quick success.
It really was, but I'll tell you, I have to honestly say these girls really bought into the system, Andy, and you know, when you've got girls that are great student athletes and they buy into the system and they buy into you as a coach and they buy into the coaching program and the philosophy of the school, it makes it a lot easier.
Talk about some of these young ladies. I know we're going to be talking in a few minutes to Peyton Caldwell and also Hannah Hauser as well. Talk about them and maybe some other players on your team that are big contributors to what you're doing as far as the makeup of this team goes.
Sure.
I think there's a young lady too. Is it Speckman or Sprickman?
Yes, Speckman.
Gotcha.
Yes, Megan.
You
know, to kind of start off with Peyton Caldwell, she had tore ACL last year, so she did not get to play last year. It was a heart-wrenching deal because I was really looking forward to that last year. But I'll tell you, the girl's got a lot of passion for the game. She's got a lot of heart, and she does not believe in going half speed. I will tell you that. She led our team this year with 17.4 points a game and 14.3 rebounds per game. So she was a double-double for us and a very big part of our game, and actually led the conference in shooting about 200 free throws, making 69% of her free throws this year. So I thought that was quite well. Hannah Hauser, on the other hand, has been my three-point catalyst. You know, we talked about it before the beginning of the season, and last year I think she had 37 three-pointers. So we had a little friendly bet this year and basically said, Hannah, I need 55 three-pointers from you for the year, and she's done very well. I think she's right at about 50. So Megan Speckman, on the other hand, she was our point guard. Saw the floor very well and was a good floor general for us to get the ball to Peyton Caldwell underneath and as well as to Hannah for the wide open three-pointers. And then, I have to say about our lone senior that we've got for the year, Callie Carlson. She was
her name, Callie, yeah.
She was a very good leader. We will miss her definitely next year, and she was probably one of the best boxing one defenders I've ever coached.
I used to watch your box scores back, I guess, when Peyton was injured last year. I guess Callie had to contribute a lot more even during that season than maybe did she would this year with more players stepping up.
Correct. She did. She basically had to step up and be that Peyton Caldwell this year, as well as continue to be my boxing one defender, as well as try to score some points for me. So this year it did take some pressure off of Callie Carlson by Peyton being back with us.
Now you've done so well with the girls team. Any chance that they may lose you to the boys team? You kind of surpassed the boys at Caldwell now, and building this women's program. I guess you got to make sure they keep you safe where you are on the women's side of things.
Sure. Well, you know what? I love these girls, and they're just it's a great big family, and we're very close knit, and I'll be with them as long as they allow me to be there.
And I guess you're together with them during the off season too. Now that the season's over, got some things going on here pretty quickly to get this off season workout going, and I guess the off season, maybe some of the travel basketball coming around.
Yes, sir. We do have a couple of them that do play AAU basketball. So as the varsity girls basketball coach, I'm involved in the AAU as well, but I always kind of keep up with them and call the girls, call their moms and dads, and just make sure that my players are okay.
And the team you're with now, you said the Phoenix Express East, right?
Correct, yes, sir.
How does that differ from some of the other Phoenix teams?
Well, you know, we're coaching under Kenny Carter, and that is his program. In doing the Phoenix Express East, I'm doing the middle school aged girls there to try to continue to get them at a point.
So you would be coaching some younger players, not necessarily your players off your team.
Correct, absolutely, yes, sir. And then we'll do that, and then once that gets over, then it's time for team camp and different things of that nature for my high school team.
Where do you go for team camp? Where does that take place? At your place, or do you go to a college for their camp? How does that work?
Last year we did it over at Guilford College. We did the Newberry College team camp, and it was a very interesting camp. We got to play a lot of 4A public schools, 3A schools, and just several different teams, and see where the girls compared to where some of these other teams are. We did fairly well and played fairly hard. I think we played 10 games. We got 10 games, and it was a good experience.
When does that take place? How soon after your season's over they do that team camp? Does that come during the summer months?
Yes, sir. That comes in June. I don't have the exact dates this year, but last year I think it was towards the middle or end of June.
And do you see some of your girls eventually maybe take a look at some of these different colleges like Guilford, like UNCG, like Greensboro, and some of the other schools? Maybe look to go to school there one day and maybe get on those teams?
I do. I truly believe that we've got a couple of girls that can play at the next level, and we do have several different coaches taking a look at them and just trying to see Queens College. I'm very good friends with Susan Yao, and
wow, that's a good connection
so it was a great connection. So I send tapes to her to keep a lookout.
She's got a heck of a basketball background, man. She's still at it, still doing it. I mean, she's been like with all the way back to Gibsonville and NC State, I guess.
Absolutely.
Gosh, coaching everybody. She was coaching a women's professional team a while back too.
She's a very nice lady. Good people, and again, like I said, I really truly believe in my heart that if these girls continue on the path that they are on, listening, taking all the constructive criticism, being coached, buying into the systems, and you know, like I've always told them, I said, I'm not here for you to like me, I'm here to make you better, and I think that we have done that, but that has not been done just by me. That's been done with the help of these young ladies.
Well, talk about the help of the assistant coaches too, because sometimes you can kind of be the bad cop, those guys can be the good cops. They can kind of rally the girls around, say, hey, the coach is having a bad day, he's pushing you for a reason.
Absolutely.
Who's your coaching staff, the guy that's backing you up?
I've got Trey Hauser. He's been a good friend of mine for a long time, and we've been coaching together for some time. He's been very good this year. He can be hard on the girls as well, but he's also that good guy that he'll help them out and help get them through over the hump. He's a good X's and O's guy, so I really look forward to him on that. Look towards him on the X's and O's. My main thing is being just a positive motivator for these girls, and I think that they've appreciated everything that we've done, and they've shown us that. So again, Trey Hauser's
and your job
good guy.
To make sure they're ready when it comes game time, and not have to make too many adjustments when that game time finally gets there.
Absolutely, we've had some moments, and we've had some good moments, bad moments, and happy moments and sad moments, but it's a lot tougher than a lot of people think, in the 30-second timeouts and the 60-second timeouts, trying to make sure we keep everybody collectively together and coming up with some plays. But again, like I said, we've had some really good moments in those timeouts, setting up certain plays, and to see them work feels real good.
How far do you look to this team ahead now? I know you want to get further in the tournament next year. Where do you see this team going? What's the future look like the next couple of couple of years for this team?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think that we've got a very big future in front of us. As we're, again, like I said, we're a very young team. I mean, we had from 7th grade to basically 11th graders on the team this year, with the exception of the one senior. So we're extremely young. We've got a fantastic sophomore class this year that will be rising juniors in Hannah Hauser, Peyton Kadlicek, and Megan Speckman. So I really look forward for those 3 players to be able to lead the Wrath in the next 2 years.
What about yourself? Do you have an interest, chosen interest in this Duke-Carolina game? I got to ask everybody about that today, too. That's a big one coming up down in Chapel Hill, the makeup game from last Wednesday. We would have hoped they would have got that game in last Wednesday, and maybe it would have been something to do during that snowstorm to watch that game, but they're playing tonight, and it still has got everybody's interest kind of peaked up right now. Any thoughts about that game?
Well, I'm a diehard Carolina fan.
No, Vic was a Carolina man, wasn't he?
Vic was a Carolina man, and I think most of my girls on the Caldwell team are Carolina ladies. So
yeah, it looks like Peyton's probably a Carolina.
She is definitely a Carolina fan, and I'm definitely going Carolina all the way.
Now, from a fan's perspective, yes. From looking at the game overall, how do you see it? Maybe as they work to get that win tonight, the Tar Heels, how do they go about getting that win? What will they do that will probably be there to knock Duke off and kind of shut the door on Duke? How are they going to do that tonight, you think?
Well, I think about the only way to do that is to not let Duke get hot from the three-point line. I think if Duke is cold from the three-point line, or Carolina can contest the three-point shots, and I think they've got a shot.
You know, Duke has really become a three-point shooting team the past several years, haven't they?
They have.
Austin Rivers' three-pointer just completely wore Carolina out a couple of years ago. It was a dagger that year, but you know, back in the day, Duke was not looked upon as being that much of a three-point shooting team. But sometimes coaches like Coach Krzyzewski, and even his staff, his assistants, you know, there's not if a guy's shooting too many three-pointers, it's almost like this guy's undisciplined. He's taking these shots, but that's all changed for them.
Sure, it has. Again, they've got enough of those guys there that can shoot the three-pointers, and they've got the green lights.
The Plumlee brothers, because those guys were not the kind of guys who would always grab that missed shot, stick it right back in with authority, like a huge dunk or something right out of the air. But those guys were smart about keeping the ball alive and giving those three-point shooters continual chances to try to take those shots.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with you.
What about from Carolina's standpoint? Stop the three-pointer for Carolina. How do you see them having improved the past week or so? Is that a 5 or 6 game winning streak for them now?
Yes, I think they've completely improved.
You think they finally woke up and said, gosh, we've got P.J. Harrison here. We got to play on. He's not coming back. It's over. He's moved on to another level. He's gone somewhere. He's gone to Texas playing for this D-League team now. We've got to get our game together and play as a team, assume what we got to do. We've got to start finally waking up and growing up.
I truly believe they have. I think they have started maturing, growing up, waking up, and understanding that if it's going to be, it's got to start right now for them. They can't afford too many more losses.
I'll tell you one thing, when J.P. Tokodo started getting more involved in the game, it seemed like it helped him as well. It's like he was kind of a missing part. This Kennedy Meeks kid, too, has really come on strong. The freshman out of Charlotte's playing good basketball for them now.
Yes, I really like that guy, and I think that he's going to be a big part of Carolina basketball in the future.
I wonder who could answer the question, what is game shape for a guy like Kennedy Meeks, as big as he is? And when he gets in game shape, I think he's losing some weight and becoming more effective for them. And what will he be like when he actually gets in real good game shape?
Yeah, I think he's going to be very strong. I think you're going to be able to see him play in the games for a lot longer instead of getting 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes and then having to have a break. I think he'll be able to go a lot longer.
The games are a lot more similar now, the women's game and the men's game. As a women's coach or girls coach, what things can you take from watching the men's game that you can also utilize for your game? Because it has to be that way, because I tell you what, we're supposed to have Coach Kim Furlow in here later tonight. Coach Furlow and Coach Jones at Page and Coach Joyner out at Northwest Guilford. We're seeing a lot more men now coaching the women's team than in the past, and those men will take some things from the men's game and bring that to the women's game. Maybe not the women sometimes as much. That might be something we just discovered or kind of broke ground on that thought tonight. But what things do you take from the men's game as a women's coach?
You know, I think the things you take from the men's game is the basics. You know, the passing, you know, the selective shots, the good shots. You know, the men play so much more above the rim than the ladies do. I really enjoy coaching the women due to the fact that I think it's more solid basketball.
And they seem to be.
It's not about the dunking.
We used to use that crazy term malleable back years ago. Malleable would be like soaking things in. It seems like sometimes women are more willing to learn, listen.
I agree.
And thinking, hey, I don't know it all yet. I still have things I can pick up.
I agree. And that's one thing that I've really enjoyed and loved about this team is they are that way. I mean, they want to learn, they want to continue to get better, and that's the one thing as a coach, as a head coach, that I've promised them that I will always do what I can to make sure that they get better.
It seems like the women's game now too, you're seeing a lot more passing, and the women now, the girls are starting to see when it's important to keep passing, also when it's important to keep dribbling. You'll see some girls sometimes they just dribble the ball because they're not sure where should I pass the ball.
Sure.
They seem to be understanding those two phases of the game better too.
Well, one thing that we've taught our girls this year, and I think a lot of them have known it, but as you continue to do things repetitiously, passing.
The right things.
The right things. You know, passing is the way to beat the pressure. The girls did a great job this year. I think there was a lot of teams that thought and felt that they were going to be able to press us. I think we probably were pressed maybe once or twice, and then we'd break it, and teams had to get out of that. So we didn't get a whole lot of opportunity this year with people playing us man to man, which is what we do enjoy.
Yeah.
So it kind of caught us off guard in our one loss that we had in the conference.
There's a lot of ways to slice it too. You think about it this day and time for the girls, knowing when to make the pass and know what kind of pass to make.
Sure.
Even the men sometimes try to throw the pass through someone or throw it over the top on those press breakers.
Sure.
Sometimes the bounce passes. I watched these little girls, younger girls, whatever, at Northwest Guilford a few times. Haley Barber, Catherine Moore, a couple of their guards, and they have seemed to pick up that point too about using that bounce. Sometimes they use it a lot, which I don't think is a bad idea. They use it a lot, develop a good habit there.
Sure. You know, one thing we do, and this is Coach Trey Hauser's famous words here. You know, fake a pass to make a pass, and I think the girls have really continued to get better at faking a pass in order to make the pass.
Well, they used to even use any fakes at all, did they?
Absolutely.
I think the girls were afraid back in the day if they faked a pass, the ball was going to come out of their hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I'll tell you, with this Caldwell group of girls here, when I took the team, 2 years ago, we weren't real strong. We were pretty soft. This team has developed into the eye of the tiger kind of team, and they'll go after it. They've got the aggressive nature, and yes, there's sometimes we'll pick up more fouls than other times, but with these young ladies here, these student athletes, I would rather them show a passion for the game and want to be there,
right?
Which they have done.
I'll tell you one thing, if they want to watch a player, I know we talked about the women watching men. If you watch Tyler Lewis, his fakes are pretty darn good.
Yes.
I mean, they'll do fakes at times just to part of the system. You know, fake left, fake right, little quick fakes.
Sure.
I mean, those are just good things you can pick up just watching other players and watching players that are fundamentally sound.
Absolutely. Tyler Lewis is a good basketball player, and as I used to coach the boys, his father, Rick Lewis, used to coach for Carolina Flight, I believe they were.
That was a good team, yeah.
I remember him when he was real tiny, and to see him make it this big is amazing.
You got to be thinking guys like that can get better too.
Sure.
It's just a matter of getting more playing time. Talking about college ball, you've only got to limit. You got to make the moves. You got to make them now and quick.
That's right.
You got to impress the coach because he's got such a small window, and there's such a fine line between the good side and the bad side. If you don't make the right move at that time, you could be on the bench again. May not get back in there for a while.
That's right. You're exactly right. I mean, it's again, with college, with our Caldwell team, with whomever, we've always said the same thing. Take advantage. Take the most of your opportunity when you're in there.
Who's the women's these days? Women's college teams that impress you? Watching some of the women's game. Now, I don't get to watch much of this because we're watching so many high school games, traveling around all during the week and whatever. But this guy Wes Moore, I know it's NC State, but this guy Moore at NC State got that team in the top 25. Looks like he's done a very good job his first year.
Yes, he's done a great job with them. Obviously, the main ones that everybody knows. I mean, Connecticut, UConn is a very solid team.
And Notre Dame's not shabby either, right?
Notre Dame's very good, as well as Louisville. I think that guy's done a really good job.
It's going to be a good deal for the ACC when Louisville comes in, then. That's a good deal, then.
It is. It's going to be, the ACC is going to continue to get tougher.
And Duke and Carolina, always big battles there. It looked like the other night, Carolina and State played, and Carolina upset State. I think State was maybe ranked close to number 15 or somewhere in that neighborhood. Carolina came in and just beat them. And Duke and Carolina, excellent games for the women, too.
Absolutely.
Do you have your girls' tickets already in hand to go all together go watch the ACC tournament?
Well, we don't have
for the women.
We don't have them yet, but we will be getting some.
Some soon,
and that is the goal, and that is the plan, to take some of these girls and the Caldwell basketball team to a couple of games.
Do you have a basketball goal in your backyard or in your driveway?
I do have one in my driveway. Yes.
Yeah, that's big because I heard the other day, listening to some people talking about basketball. basketball. They said back in the day, you watch a game like tonight, again, Carolina and Duke going at it. If it was on a Saturday afternoon, as soon as the game was over, maybe even a halftime, first thing you did, you went outside, you're playing a game in your backyard or in the driveway. Got to get that game going. One kid's going to be the Duke guy, one guy's going to be the Carolina guy.
That's right.
Vice versa.
That's right.
Yeah.
We used to do that all the time. So, but again, like I said, the girls, I'm really extremely proud of them. And look for really good things in the future for the Caldwell ladies basketball.
I'll use this as a closing question to get Peyton in because they've got some traveling to do tonight. Sure. Where do you feel like you got your basketball degree at? Looking back at your basketball experience, where did your degree come from?
Well, I've got to honestly say, Freddie Johnson was a big one for me.
You know what crazy is? We're making a lot of points. We went over a point or so, but I was reading the other day about Brian Robinson, the coach at Bishop McGinnis women. I think he's got like about 385 wins now.
Yep.
X amount of years, I think 385. But you look at Freddie for this men's team, he's got like 800 and some wins. You start thinking, if I can get 20 wins a year, X amount of years, it'd take you forever to get that many wins. And he's just loaded them up.
It would.
And you look at the job Brian Robinson, he's got like 8 straight or 7 straight titles, and still he's 400 wins.
500 away from
Freddie.
Yeah. So Freddie has been, again, he's Freddie the Great. So he understands the game, and I learned a lot from him.
You had to. All the coaches we talked to the years that come through, they said at one time or another they were with Freddie. Keith Gatlin was with Freddie.
Yes,
everybody's been with Freddie one time or another.
He was. So it was very exciting.
Well, let's let you get rolling, Coach. Thank you for your time. Caldwell Academy Eagles, Coach Stewart.